and she offered to come back and report about her trip to Tanzania. And we look forward to what you need to share with us, Lord. Thank you.
Hello, thank you so much for welcoming me back. It's really nice to be back here after my trip. I was very silly and I didn't save it onto my laptop. So now my presentation that I made can't get onto the big screen. So sorry about that, but if you want to take a closer look at the photos that I've got, then you can obviously come at the end. But yeah, so I went with my sixth form, Bishop Lafayette, with Hugo and Sharon. And Sharon has a very special connection to Tanzania. If you remember, she had a calling from God that she was to go on a mission, and she didn't know what country, but she had this gut feeling. And then the next day she received a letter from Tanzania. She had no idea where Tanzania was. She was in her own early 20s, and she was so brave that she got a group together and she went out and she met this beautiful community. And after hearing her story in this church, I was so excited to go see what this community was about and how special it really was. And it really was, you get that raw buzz feeling as soon as you're out there. So yes, obviously a local charity, it's £3.50 a month to sponsor a primary school child. And with that money they get 2 meals a week, which is probably all they would get for that whole week. They probably wouldn't eat in between, and they would get their school uniform provided for them. So yeah, we flew from Gatwick to Dar es Salaam, and we spent a few days in Dar es Salaam, and that was basically a bit of a briefing. So we went to a beach, and it was really luxury. We stayed in these lovely huts. We had monkeys on our balcony. We did some sunrise swimming. We had 2 nights there. So we woke up in the morning and we swam at 5 a.m. We watched the sunrise, and it was really lovely. And that was a really nice time to gel with the people that we went with. There was a group of 28 students. And it was a really nice time to get to know each other before going into the real poverty. So the city that we went to was called Mbeya, which is quite a big region, but there's a city within the Mbeya region called Mbeya City, and that has a lot of poverty. The life expectancy is only 43 because of the sheer amount of disease and stuff, mainly spread in the dust. It's a very dusty area, and there's lots of things that are just so unhygienic, and with 80% of the children having HIV, many are not making it into their adult life or going on to get elderly. So the first day we spent in Mbeya, I don't know, can you see the photos from here? I'm guessing you can't really, no. Okay, there's no point. But in day one, what we did is we went to the market and we chose some Tanzanian fabric, and I chose a really nice piece, and then we got it sent to a tailor who, right at the end of our trip, made us some really beautiful shirts. I wish I could show you the photos, but anyway. We did many feeding programs, so that was one of the things that they wanted us to do. So we had a porridge feeding program, which was for anyone, so it doesn't matter whether you're sponsored or not. Grassroots have a program that they've recently made for everyone. And many of the older women who couldn't work and the babies were having this porridge program, and that was probably my highlight because it was such a sweet time, and it was just so humbling to see how excited they were at just the thought of seeing porridge. And then after, we had a couple of hours with them, and we painted their nails for them, and the women had never had that before, and they were so excited, and they all wanted their nails painted. And we took some photos, and then I went to show someone on their phone, and they were so shocked, and it took them a few minutes to work out which one they were. And they'd never seen themselves before. And this woman was probably about 50, so she was one of the oldest women that I saw out there, and she'd never got to see herself because there are windows, there's no reflections out there. So that was her first ever time seeing herself, so that was a real surreal moment. So yeah, and then I had lots of baby cuddling, which was so nice. There's so many children, most of them are double orphans, so they don't have a mum or a dad. And lots of the families out there are family-led families, if that makes sense. So the older sisters are looking after maybe 4 or 5 younger ones, and she might only be 12, and she's carrying maybe 2 babies on her back, maybe 1 in her hand, and she would do all the mum things that you would expect when you're raising a family. And we also built 10 bunk beds, so we got some local timber from a Tanzanian store, and we built 10 bunk beds by the end of it. So we saw the right measurements. The teacher that took us out there used to be a carpenter, so we used some of his skills to make these really nice bunk beds, and then we delivered them to the worst off houses, so the people that really needed it, and about 4 children would sleep on each bed on the bunk bed. So 1 bunk bed, normal size for us, would fit 8 children. So that was really nice to take it into their homes and see their appreciation, because no one really there has a bed. So that was a very luxurious thing to give them. We also gave out chickens, so we were in a truck for an hour holding these chickens, and the roads are like this, and the driving is so scary and dangerous. There's no traffic lights, people just go when they want. The roads is very uneven, and we were holding out these chickens, and they were going everywhere. But delivering them to the family made that really worth it, because they were so appreciative of the chickens, because they can obviously give them food eventually, but also a source of income as they make eggs. So yeah, that was really nice as well. We did a hospital visit, which was super sad, but we were taken into a hospital. There was no filter, you just go straight into the ward, and I saw a postnatal ward, so the women are in there only for a couple of hours after they give birth. They have no gas, they have nothing to ease their birth, and they're in beds very close to each other, so they could reach over and touch the next woman who's just had their baby. And my sister, she loves to crochet, so I gave out some nice hats and some blankets for the new mums and their new babies, which was really nice. They were too weak to even take it, so I had to place it on their bed for them, for when they were strong enough to take it up themselves. Then on one of the last days we visited a school, which was amazing. My experience visiting school was amazing, but lots of time we had to split off into groups. So because there was 28 of us, we couldn't all go to the hospital, we couldn't all go to a school. So we'd split off and we'd go into different trucks, and then we'd go to different places. And there were 2 school placements, and I went to this most amazing school. I got to sit in a biology lesson. Bear in mind, I do A-level biology. I was so humbled when I found out what they were learning, because these children were probably only 10, and they were learning something more complex than I would be learning in an A-level biology class in English, when they don't know any English until they go to school. So they have to learn, so their native language is Swahili, and lots of them don't even speak Swahili, they have their own tribal languages. So they have to go from their tribal language to Swahili, and then they convert Swahili to English, and then they have all their lessons after they get up to a certain age in English at a very complex level. So they have English textbooks, and they would do, I sat in a lesson in excretion, and it was very, I couldn't believe the discipline, and how willing these children were to go to school. They felt so lucky. Talking to them, they were like, we're so lucky to go to school, we love our school. But then unfortunately another group who went to a different school had a different experience. It's something very common in Tanzania, and there was corporal punishment there, which was really sad, because they just couldn't even get through the front gate before seeing a horrible scene and really traumatic for everyone. When they went to report it to the administration office, there was just more corporal punishment going on there, and then they went to the head teacher's office and there was more going on in there. So they decided to leave that school, and Grassroots are currently working with that school to try and prevent that. And in a couple of years' time, it's going to be illegal in Tanzania for any corporal punishment in the school. So that's really good to know, but obviously a very traumatic experience to go and see. And then on the last day, we took the children to the zoo. So they've never actually seen their own animals before. Because Mbeya is high up and it's in the mountains, they don't get that many animals come in and out. So we took them to a zoo in a coach. They'd never been in any form of transport before, so they were very scared. It was a bit weird to be on a bus for them. But we took them, and we had 2 children each, and my girl in particular she just was taking it all in, and it was so sweet to see her go up and try and touch the enclosures, and she just really wanted to just see all the monkeys, Simba, the lion, and then we took them to a play area. They've never been on swings or anything like that before, so it was really nice just to have that hour to just watch them go and have fun with their friends. And then we each bought our children an ice cream and a drink, so that was really, really nice. And then our last day, it was time to say goodbye, so that's when we delivered all the bunk beds. We slept in tents when we were out there, so we gave our mattresses to them. So when we packed up our tent, we put our mattresses on their beds that we just given out. We gave some more chicken, some rice out to some families of need, and then we said goodbye to our interpreters. So we had some grassroots interpreters out there. I don't know how many grassroots volunteers there are, but there was a lot of paid full-time workers out there, including the people that we had. So they kind of see us every year, and when grassroots aren't there, they're still operating like a normal charity, and they have that, like they're developing it all the time themselves. So yeah, that is the end, but I'm sorry that you couldn't see the photos. It does make a difference when you can see it with the photos, but I'm sorry I didn't download it. But yeah, thank you so much for welcoming me back. It's been really nice to come back and share my experience.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lord. And your plans are now you go back to school?
Yeah, back to school, yeah, for my final year.
Final year. Okay, but this visit might affect your future career.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've learned so much, yeah.
Good. Okay. Let's finish before we go for coffee, let's remember Thine be the glory, risen, conquering Son, the resurrection, the Lord's day, the day of resurrection. Let's stand to sing.